Hi, it's Charlie Zeiss and Lisa Richards from Stargate Pyramids and the Pyramid Science Foundation. We're happy today to be back with Grandma Chandra. We have not spoken with her in probably almost 2 years, I believe. It was back in July 7th, 2000 or 2020, I believe that Grandma Chandra had a kind of a disclosure of things that were going to be happening. And I remember that day because coincidentally, it turned out to be the very day that I decided to write the book that we're going to be talking about today, which is called 76.345, Exploring the Hidden Secrets of the Golden Ratio. So it's been a while, but I wanted to say hello to Kat and to Grandma, and thank you both for being here today. With us also today is Irina, who's going to be translating for Grandma Chandra on her behalf. So thank you all for being here. So I have just had this book out for about 3 weeks now, and I sent copies of it to everyone. And I hope you've had a chance to, to at least read through it and to see. But I guess I'll just start with just some general comments, I guess, from Grandma. Let her make some opening remarks if she'd like to about the contents of the book and what she thought of what I had to say. So then we can get into some specifics.
John, where are you? Irina.
Okay. Is what I'm getting correct?
Let me change my position here. Okay. Is what Irina getting correct, John? Yes. Okay. Here, I'm going to move this over. Okay.
So first of all, Jima wants to thank Charlie and your team for being so persistent and bringing your perspective and your vision to all of us through your 2-year work, which has resulted in this book. So a lot of people will be looking and reading it under different angles, and that's kind of like a start point for many people to their opening and their understanding of a presence of sacred geometry and golden section in our life. So this is the opening statement from Jima.
Okay, thank you. I guess I can ask you to comment on some of the specifics, in the book. One of the key factors that we came up with in the book is that this information about this is essentially the geometry of three-dimensional phi scaling or golden ratio scaling, and is inherent from my research. It's really fundamental to the creative process and so forth. But I found this in all continents, all major religious traditions going back thousands of years. So I guess what I'd like to ask Grandma Chandra is, given the fact that this geometry has been known for so long and universally, how do you think this information was originally derived? Did it come from a previous civilization on Earth that had more, a more advanced civilization? Or did this come from maybe other universes, worlds, extraterrestrials? How did we come as a world to know about this geometry?
Irina.
Is what I'm getting correct?
Yes.
So as you mentioned in your book, this geometry is in our DNA. And it is coded through our existence, through our being. And until this knowledge, this information has been suppressed, this information was coming through our inner knowledge or higher guidance, because we were connected to the source in every activity that we were doing. And we were replicating, so to say, the God's kingdom on earth from our inner knowledge. As well as, of course, we know that, the humanity appeared on Gaia with the help of the other, our star families, sisters, brothers, and parents. And the part of the answer is, of course, yes. It was brought to humanity through this lineage of star family that now we represent as humanity on Gaia.
Okay. I have determined, at least through my research in the book, that this geometry is intimately involved in both the production of free energy, as well as in providing health benefits to mankind, and I think to all living organisms. Are there other aspects that you would suggest are also important or result from this geometry? For example, accessing our higher selves and the like.
Irina.
Yes, all above, of course. And the main point, as you know, the main interest that GMR is working on is reconnecting us to our higher self, for each of us, and reconnecting all of us as humanity to the higher source.
Okay, yeah. One of the issues that I start.
Charlie, just a minute, hon. Grandma's telling me something else. What are you saying? Irina, there's more Irina.
Okay. This will allow us, each of us, and us all together, to get united, because we were because of the lack of access to this information, we were separated not only from the source, but we were separated from working together, from each other, from being one in oneness and in the wholeness, in the holiness. And that's the change that will come as soon as the sacred geometry will be coming back into our lives on Gaia. And another aspect of that is the balance that we will be bringing to the surface of Gaia, or from the surface of Gaia to Gaia as well, because we know that everything has a vibrational row or harmonic row if it has it. And right now, this, if we speak about buildings, or if we speak about like big structures, they are disharmonic. So they deprive Gaia from sending the harmonizing vibrations from the planet to the life on the planet, to every living being there. And as soon as we start bringing back the harmonizing constructions and buildings, that will not only allow us to receive these harmonizing frequencies from Gaia, but it will allow us to amplify these frequencies for the benefit of people and all the living beings on the planet. Is that all?
No.
we will be talking here about the whole change of the structure on the planet of, so to say, the human society, because everything that is not vibrating on these frequencies will start dropping off, including different fields of industries, different directions of business, different directions in finances, because when we start understanding what really benefits us, we will not spend or apply our energy in any form to support this destructive or unharmonized activities. So that is actually key for the whole change of how a human being or human being society will be living. So this is a very drastic change that is coming through the harmonization of our surroundings and environment, and a perception of what and how we want to live and in what surroundings we want to live and in what activities we want to be involved. Is that all?
Yes, you can ask me another question, Charlie.
Okay. One of the key factors that my independent research into some ancient diagrams and also the harmonics associated with this geometry tends to confirm is the fact that this geometry produces coherence. And we can see that manifested in GDV, testing and so forth. That's gas discharge visualization from Dr. Korotkov, Konstantin Korotkov from Russia. And it shows that the aura around the human field, when subjected to this geometry, becomes very coherent. So the question is coherence of our energy fields, is that important to our health, and is that the key to health and longevity?
Yes, 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 Irina.
Yes, 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 yes. As many yes as many yes as you can add to that. Absolutely, because you have to imagine that if you, as a quantum field of humanity, is communicating with something that is disharmonic, then you spend energy, you spend your vibrations on balancing that. When everything around us will be harmonic with our own quantum field, we don't have to spend this energy. We can start creating without any obstacles. And of course, the first period here will be, as you said, healing and balancing, restoring, amplifying, filling in with energy, expanding our boundaries to be really the beings as we are, because aura of many people now is shrunk, and that's why it's very hard for them to exist. But as soon as we, so to say, open our shoulders, open our chest, expand our auras, balance it from within, after that, if the environment, according to the vibration of harmonic frequencies and rows that you are using, will be helping and supporting that, there will be no more diseases, there will be no more illnesses, there will be no more sickness, because there will be no way for them to come in, because everything will be harmonized.
Is that all on that? No, more.
that is the opening for our other abilities as human beings. Because as you know, our abilities like telepathy and communication and teleportation was suppressed for so long that when we start working in one vibrational row, in one energetic field, without any obstacles or without any distraction, we will be able to communicate momentally through the mental waves of thoughts, through our intention. We will be able to use teleportation. We will be able to use to live in a very different world that will be based on these new frequencies of our life.
Is that all on that one? Yeah. Basically, you guys, all of us, me included, will be living like Grandma Chandra lives. This is the way she lives, even though she's in a physical form, sitting next to me on the sofa. She's off in the other dimensions or in the other countries, whatever you want to say, doing other work with other people simultaneously. Now, I asked her, she said I should bring this up, so I'm bringing it up. She just put out something called the Blessed Trinity oils. And just a little excerpt here. Okay, I'm talking right now about the Mother Goddess oil. And I'm not going to go into the whole thing, just this 1 or 2 sentences. Blah, 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 blah. The goddess energy chakra was suppressed. The oil can be applied to the third eye because our vision was cut short by the society of the time. You can also apply this to the middle of the palm, where the goddess power of creation, love, and passing energy to others is going through. Okay, then she goes on and da 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 da. And the other oil, she's got 3 of them. Second one is Mother Mary. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, by applying this oil, you will receive energies from the universal flow and Mother Mary also, and be open to give through your body. You will be transmitting through your body to others, allowing you to hear better the words of your heart, excuse me, and the words of your soul through your heart. It will allow you to recognize your soul group with whom you are supposed to be and to work. It will be like an aroma that will unite you by this feeling of belonging to each other and being a family to each other. Okay, so this is all connected to what we're talking about.
Mhm.
All right, go ahead, Charlie, ask her another question.
Okay. One of the key things that comes about after I did the historical research was the fact that although this geometry's been known for thousands of years, we have essentially lost that knowledge in the last 100 or so years at least in our architecture. Western Christian churches, which used to have this in their steeples, no longer has it. In other parts of the world, for example, the Hindu and Buddhist temples, they continue to build their temples with this architecture included. So my question is, how was it that this information has been lost to us? It's been lost at the same time that information about the ether and our history of sacred geometry was really suppressed and changed. So who was involved with keeping this information from us is the bottom line question.
Yes, 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 you are correct. The countries that you mentioned outside the Western world are in essence still matriarchies. We have gone from the matriarchy to the patriarchal system in the West. Other countries are beginning to follow this as well. This is what has caused the suppression and the change. And no matter what religion, what country you want to look at, the reason is always the same: power and control. Do you want Irina to comment on this? No. Okay.
So the distinction between the matriarchal and the patriarchal societies, is the suggestion then that the other societies are more controlled by their feminine energies than we are in the West? I assume that's what that's really kind of saying,
Yes,
but
yes,
I'm
yes,
trying to get
yes,
clarification.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, do you want me to say, or Irina? You tell about Afghanistan. Okay, very simple examples. Afghanistan, we all know what's happening there. We all know about the Taliban. We don't have to go political and talk about that. What we need to talk about is the true heart of the Afghan Muslim culture in Afghanistan. These people were a matriarchal society. I lived there on and off for 20 years, married twice into the culture. It was what is called an inner outer world. The outer world was the face of the men. The inner world was the face of the women. Now, at that time, that wasn't what we would consider today abuse, keeping a woman in the house. No, that's not what that was about at all. And I lived with these families, so I saw it firsthand. I didn't read a book. I didn't do research of any kind, but I wrote my own books. Anyway, be that as it may, here is an example of a matriarchal culture. Two women marry two men. The women are sisters. One woman has 6 kids. The other woman has none. In that culture, and I don't know what's going on there today, we're not even going to go there. In that culture, the woman with the 6 kids would give one of her sons, preferably the firstborn, to her sister to raise and care for, so that her sister and her sister's husband will have someone to look after them in their old age. Further, the woman who received the son changed the son's name to Isa, which is Jesus, and changed her name to Mariam, which is Mary. So the matriarchal culture recognizes polygamy, okay? They recognize that the women together can suckle their own children, their sister's children, their whatever, cousins' children. So in Afghanistan, if somebody calls mommy, has a whole different connotation. Here, it's a specific woman that you're calling mommy. There, anybody of childbearing age can be called mommy, and you can suckle from their breasts. Now, that's a matriarchal culture. And there are many, many examples of this. And I just have to bring this up. I'm an Italian from New York. And my parents, you know, the man was out there and he was earning a living, and bless him for it. Mom stayed at home. Okay, fine. But the thing is, my mother was actually the ruler of that family, just like the Afghan women are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's very similar. Okay,
Mhm.
also, one more Afghan example. My husbands, both are deceased now, but the 2 men that I did marry at different times, when they came home from we were on a trip or whatever, we came home to the house with his parents. The first thing these men would do was go in to the mother, kneel before her, bow their heads, and wait for her to put her hands on their head and give them a blessing. And then she would tell them everything that was going on, whether it was in the family, the tribe, or the clan, and how he needs to fix it. So who was the ruler? It was actually the women.
Sure. How about that? Wow.
Okay. All right, so that's that story. Okay, another question from Grandma.
Uh, in trying to figure out how this information was lost in the West, one of the things that you find out historically is that there were numerous fires in major cities throughout Europe, the United States, Australia, the Western world in the late 1800s, early 1900s, as well as a lot of World's Fairs and expositions, and a lot of um, researchers in this area feel that this Tartarian architecture was purposefully destroyed in both of these cases through the fires, and then at the end of these expos, they'd tear these buildings down, all in an attempt to hide and to get rid of examples of this architecture. Is this an accurate interpretation of what actually occurred?
Irina.
Yes, it is. It's only the visual part that we could notice, but a lot of similar acts were happening unnoticed, like the manuscripts disappeared from the libraries or being burned or not being returned, and all the activity, or even rewritten or reprinted. So all the activities like that were used to close the access to the information of the sacred geometry and golden section.
Right. Specifically, I mentioned in the book an experience that I had attempting to get a research article from Russian torsion physicist Anatoly Akimov, and I tried to get it from the Library of Congress. And initially, I was told that I could get a copy of the article in a couple of days, and there was another library that had it as well, so I should have it in no time, no problem. And ultimately, 8 weeks later, they came back and said, "Oh, we lost it," and so did the other library. Was this an example of suppression of this information?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Any more on that, Chandra? No. Yes is enough, I guess.
Well, that's what I figured. It was just too hard to believe that both libraries suddenly lost it. So
Right, exactly.
not a surprise at all.
Yeah,
I guess.
When I was in Pakistan with one of my husbands at the time, we went to the museum in Taxila, all the ruins are and everything, the Buddhist stupas, etc. And in the museum, they had, this book, that book, and they had a book, believe this or not, well, of course you're going to believe it. I'm talking to you, Charlie. They had a book on Atlantis. And guess what? They lost it.
Right.
So
Right.
I couldn't get it because I would have bought that immediately.
Okay. Lisa, do you have any?
Well, what keeps coming to mind is, the pyramid energy is known, well, the Russian geometry pyramid is known to neutralize toxicity. Like if you put a poison inside of it, it's known to neutralize that. With what's going on in the world, there are a lot of questions about things and concerns about nanotechnology. How would the pyramid energy affect the nanotechnology that could possibly be taking control of our bodies?
Okay. Before she answered, I just have to do LOL because Chandra created a pyramid about 20 years ago out of copper and crystals. And, she sold them, she used them, whatever. And about 10 years ago, she boiled everything down and said, who's going to lug a pyramid around? No disrespect here at all, Lisa, But you know, who's gonna lug a pyramid? So she invented the green healing laser that does everything that the pyramids do. But I'm gonna let her and Irina talk about the nanotechnology because that's way beyond me.
Okay.
Irina?
Is what I'm getting correct?
Yes?
Everything that is based on energy coming from nanotechnology can be neutralized by the activation in pyramid. So everything that, as we know, all of the technology is based on energy, right?
Mhm.
And so all of that can be neutralized. It maybe not be getting out of the body because that's a different process, but at least the effects of nanotechnology in the body will be neutralized.
Oh,
More, Chandra? Yes?
Think about it as, for example, as our body is a container, right? And we know that the researchers with pyramid was working on absolutely different materials and substances and biological and non-biological substances. So if our body is a container, and we know that the harmonic codes are working to harmonize everything for the life inside of the pyramid, and if something in this container is destructing the life processes, then the energy of the pyramid, the quantum field, will be able to neutralize this disordering, disharmonizing mechanism that is inside this container. In this case, it is a body. Is that all?
Yes.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's what I was thinking too, but I just wanted clarification on that. That's great to know. So, yeah. So if it neutralizes the effects of it, then the consciousness will still remain, at least for the person to overcome it physically as well. So is what I'm thinking.
Mhm. What about that, Chandra? Just a minute, guys. What about that? Yes, 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 yes. Now, in addition, I mean, everything that she said is fine, but in addition, she's saying that having just like even little pieces like the size of your thumbnail of shungite in the house can protect you from nanotechnology's warped effects. Yes.
Awesome. That's what I make my capstones with. So we got it already.
All right. Well, I know we're running a little short on time here, so Kat, I'm going to turn it over to you. Could you tell us a little bit about how people who may want to contact Grandma can get in touch and where they should do that?
Very simple. All lowercase, all run together. Grandma Chandra, GrandmaChandra @gmail.com. And just in the subject line, say Charlie Zeese, and that'll be fine.
Okay, thank you. Well, we really appreciate you all taking the time to be with us today and to get your insights. They're quite helpful and beneficial. And it's nice for me to know that others confirm what I've come to believe from my believe to be true from my research as well. So we thank you, G-Bob.
Charlie,
And,
wait a minute. She said, okay, you're gonna have to repeat this for me. What are those numbers? Tell me those numbers, Charlie. What
I'm
is it?
sorry?
Tell me the numbers. The title of the book, the numbers.
76.345
Okay, she says it's 76.347. That's what she says.
Okay,
And I asked her how she came to that conclusion, and her answer was, in order to get a correct reading of the cosmos, of any part of the cosmos, the planets, the stars, whatever, you must go above the cosmos and look down. That was her answer, Charlie.
okay, all right.
So go above the cosmos tonight, look down and tell me what you found, Charlie.
Kat,
I've-
can I add something that Jima is adding?
Please.
Charlie, if you look at the numeric row of 76347, you can see that it starts from 7, then it goes to 6, then 3 plus 4 is 7, and then it's again 7. So you
7,
get the 7 sacred triple number in this figure. And then if you add all together, all these digits, you again get 7. And 7 is the harmonic number of the universe.
Okay, well, I'll have to think about that, how that, fits with the geometry that I figured, but there may be, there may be validity to that as well. I don't know. It's in practical terms, such as, I don't want to say insignificant from an angular standpoint. I don't know if it would make a lot of difference, but if it makes sense from a numerical standpoint, we'll definitely explore that.
And it does add up to 9, Charlie.
Yeah, so, we'll check that out, but I'll have to do some more research on that. So, anyway, we thank you all for being with us today and for listening. And again, I will be putting up Grandma's contact information here on the screen when this goes live. I thank you all for listening today, and you have a great day.
Thank you,
You too.
Grandma.
So much. Thank you,
Kelly, for
Lisa.
having us.
Thank you,
All right.
Irina.
Thank
Okay.
you, Kat. Thank you,
Bye.
Irina. Lots of love to you all.
Love.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.